All right, diving right in. Today, it's Ray Dalio and principles. But gotta be honest, the guy's a bit of a legend, right? So we're not just talking finance, we're talking about that system he built for making decisions.
Yeah, and it's all about the process, isn't it?
Totally.
It's like he figured out that the key to success is figuring out where you went wrong. Almost like he's trying to fail just so he can analyze it.
That's what I love, this radical transparency thing. It's not just being honest, it's like hardcore self-examination. But before we get too deep, how does someone, which is huge, right? Because we've all been there, think we're right, and then bah, bam, reality hits. But Dalio, he's all about relationships too, right? Not just the bottom line. So how does he square that? High stakes finance with like deep, genuine human connection.
That's the core of it, yeah.
It's a head scratcher for sure.
It is, because for him, those two things, they're not in opposition. They actually feed each other. This radical transparency, even when it's tough, it builds trust.
It's like the truth will set you free, but maybe with a little bandage required warning label.
Exactly. And he's got a perfect example of this in the book. So picture this. Bridgewater. Back office needs a total overhaul. Right.
Okay, so we're talking big decisions, people's livelihoods. Not easy.
No, not at all. And some of these people, they'd been with him for years.
Right.
But instead of, the usual hush-hush, he brings everyone in on it.
Wow, really? Like everyone?
Everyone. They talk about the problems, the potential solutions. Everything was on the table.
It's a bold move. Most places would be like, here's a memo, don't panic.
Exactly. But he's all about that radical transparency. He wants everyone to understand the why, even if they don't love the what.
That takes guts. Not just as a CEO, but like as a person.
100%.
Yeah.
It's about respecting people enough to, level with them.
Absolutely. And I guess that respect, it starts with looking inward, right? Being honest with yourself about your own, shortcomings, which Dalio is a big proponent of.
Huge. Because until you know your weaknesses, you can't fix them, right?
Makes sense. So how do we actually use this? I mean, I'm not building an empire anytime soon, but this all sounds good for, life in general.
Totally. Dalio, he's big on systems. Creating a framework for success, whatever that means for you. And he talks about this idea, eating ground glass.
Okay, that sounds unpleasant.
Right, but it's a metaphor for facing the hard truths. He learned it the hard way back in '82, made this huge market miscalculation, cost his clients a ton of money.
Ouch. Expensive lesson.
Yeah, but it was a turning point. He realizes he can't just rely on instinct, even with his track record.
So what does he do?
Data. Starts collecting everything, analyzing trends, like he's trying to reverse engineer his mistakes.
So that's where the whole algorithm thing comes from.
Exactly. He starts building systems based on these principles to try and make his decisions more objective.
Taking the emotion out of it as much as possible.
Exactly. But, and this is key, he never forgets about the human element.
Okay, because we talked about relationships, right? And thoughtful disagreement, which with all these algorithms running around seems kind of tough. How do you make that work?
That's what makes his approach so interesting. He gets that everyone's different. Different strengths, different ways of seeing things.
So that's where those baseball cards come in.
Yes.
I've heard about these. Everyone gets a card with their personality on it.
It's more like a snapshot. Big picture thinker or detail-oriented. Do they make decisions based on logic or gut feeling? It's about having a shared language.
That's cool. So it's about self-awareness, but on a team level. But there's more to it, right? You mentioned this whole believability thing earlier. So it's like everyone's got their own perspective, which is great, but then you factor in their experience, their track record to decide how much weight to give it.
Exactly. It's recognizing that, not all opinions are equal. Your believability comes from what you've done, your expertise, even what your peers think. All that gets factored in.
Which makes sense, right? It's not about silencing anyone. It's about making sure the best ideas rise to the top.
That's the meritocracy he's going for. And they've got this tool, the dot collector. It's this platform everyone can weigh in on a decision.
Okay, so far so good. What's the catch?
Your vote, it's weighted by that believability score.
Whoa! Next level. It's like you're taking gut feeling, which we all have, but adding data to it, so you're not just flying blind.
Exactly. It forces everyone to up their game. If you're going to disagree, you better come with evidence, strong arguments. It pushes everyone towards excellence.
This is amazing. It's like he took the stock market and put it inside a company.
Kind of.
But okay, with all this system stuff, where does gut feeling fit in? Those moments where you just know, data be damned.
It's not that he ignores it. It's more like intuition needs to be backed up. Remember that Healthy fear of being wrong?
Mm.
That's huge here.
Don't get cocky, basically.
Basically, got to be willing to be wrong, even when you feel super sure.
So it's this balance, right, between trusting your gut but also being open to being, like, completely wrong.
100%. And that's where a thoughtful disagreement is so important. He wants debate, but not to win. To get to the best solution, even if it means saying, you know what, I screwed that up.
Which takes guts too, man, admitting you're wrong.
Totally. You got to put your ego aside, focus on what's actually best for the team, for the goal, whatever it is.
This is great stuff. And we've been talking business, but this all plays to life too, right? Being honest, being open to being wrong, valuing different perspectives.
Exactly. It's not just about making money. It's about making good choices in work, in relationships, everywhere.
So as we wrap this up, I'm curious, what's sticking with you? What's the one thing that's, I'm going to use that?
For me, it's that ground glass,
Yeah.
facing the tough stuff, because that's how you grow.
Love it. And for me, I think it's that idea of your own personal idea meritocracy, where the best idea wins, whether it's in your head or with your family or at work. That's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.